Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Western Canada here in Victoria. I hope that everybody is having a great weekend so far. I hope that you're staying productive, healthy, happy. Students, in this class we are looking at IELTS Speaking Part 2. That's the cue card. It comes about 5 to 6 minutes into your 12 to 15 minute speaking interview. The cue card can be a lot of different kinds of questions. Basically, this card or this part will have 5 to 6 questions on a specific topic, and you will be challenged to come up with a good answer and give a nice fluent response in a 1 to 2 minute mini speech. Today's cue card will focus on new skills. Welcome, Amrit. Welcome to our members. This is a members chat class. Everybody is welcome to watch. You can become a member of our channel by clicking the join button. Definitely do subscribe to the channel so that you get updates on all of our live classes. These classes are brought to you by aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gltshelp.com for general IELTS. On both of our websites, we have lots of help to improve your speaking, as well as for other parts of the exam. Our academic IELTS website looks like this at aehelp.com, and you can click that big red button that's just right above my head there to join our premium IELTS package. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. I am a certified British Council agent, and we are an official IELTS test registration center. So you're in really good hands with us. We have been in the game longer than most. We have been developing IELTS materials and teaching IELTS for over 15 years. So you are definitely in great hands with us. Welcome, Sanjay. Hi, Amra. Slow Sunset Vibes. Nice to see many more students joining in. Sanjay, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Amrit, I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Students, general IELTS, same idea, okay? So again, you can click that big red button, and we kind of have this cars theme going on this week. So when you click that button, you can use the discount code CARS20 for a 20% discount, and you can see that that was just applied there to the cost of the course. It is a one-time payment for lifetime access. So once you pay, that's it. You get access to the apps, all of our videos, practice exams, and you're ready to go. You don't need to worry about monthly payments or anything like that, okay? Emre, welcome to our group of members. Nice to have you join us. Please send me an email so you can get your perks, okay? We can send you those links to the exclusive videos. Okay, everyone. So, yeah, use that code CARS20 for that 20% discount. To get our apps, Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help, the apps are in your app stores. You can download them. Once you log into the website on your computer, there's also a QR code to get access there. And we have Instagram, IELTS_AE Help and GIELTS Help. And if you have questions about IELTS or about the speaking section, to be more specific, or if you have questions about immigration or school application, just send me an email to adrian@aehelp.com. That's my email address there, and we'll get back to you pretty quick, okay? All right, so let me make a quick correction to that. Our streaming schedule from today until next week, we have speaking part 2 right now. Okay, we're going to do that together with everyone. Make sure to watch, even if you're not a member, because we'll have speaking part 3 next. And speaking part 3 will be a continuation of speaking part 2. In the Ielts exam, speaking part 3 questions follow speaking part 2, and they are connected. Our schedule now, we have no class June 5th to 8th. And again, I'm back on June 9th with speaking part 1. And then next week we'll have reading, we'll have listening parts 3 and 4, finishing the exam that we started this week. We'll have task 2 and more speaking part 3 as well. So lots to look forward to. Make sure to check out our new videos that we release on our website. In fact, I believe we just released a new one last night as well. So check that out. This is a great video that we released last week. A candidate from Madhya Pradesh. Check that out. She does a great job on the speaking interview. And we have some free speaking classes for you in June where you can participate more and more to improve your fluency and your English. One coming up on June 19th, and this is on Lighthall. Lighthall is a new platform that is specially designed for teachers and students for live teaching and live learning. It's amazing. They've got some really good things going. No lag, no latency. You can voice chat. So register for these classes. They're 100% free. I'm putting the links into the chat so you can check them out there. Okay. And you can click on those links at some later time, today, tomorrow, and then enjoy more great English practice. Okay. All right. So let's get to speaking part 2. Here is our cue card. And the focus of this cue card, as I said, is talk about a new skill you would like to learn. Bum, bum, bum. All right. So a new skill that you would like to learn. Now, step 1, when you get to part 2. So what will basically happen in your IELTS speaking is the examiner will, for part 1, ask you some questions. They will ask for your name, your passport, then you will talk about maybe your hobbies, maybe some sports or some music that you like, or talk about a subject like math or English. And then when they ask you 4 or 5 questions for speaking part 1, they will follow by saying, that is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to read the questions. Think about your answers. You can take notes in that 1 minute if you wish, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start and when to stop. Talk about a new skill you would like to learn. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. Okay, and then they literally time you. So they have a timer. They check 60 seconds. Now, 1 minute is a good amount of time to prepare. So you should prepare, and that's what you should do. And in that 1 minute, the very, very first step, of course, is to read the question carefully. Don't rush, okay? One of the common mistakes, everyone, is that students speak off topic. So a great way to avoid that is actually to read the question 2 times, just nice and slow and smooth. It shouldn't take too long, 10 seconds, 12 seconds. So let's do that. Okay, let's read this question twice. Okay, so talk about a new skill you would like to learn. What is it? Why you want to learn this new skill? Where can you get help to learn this new skill? What is your plan after you learn this skill? And how will this change your life? You will have 1 to 2 minutes to talk about this topic. Okay, so talk about a new skill you would like to learn. So we've read this twice, right? Now, we want to identify this category, and it may seem a little bit tricky at first, but I think you can figure this out. So part 2, as I've said many times before, it belongs to more or less one of 5 categories. So a person, you're talking about a person or a place or an object or an idea or an event. In this case, what do you think it is? Okay, so hi Ghazi. So if I'm talking about a new skill that I would like to learn, what category do you think it fits into? Person, place, object, event, or idea? What are your thoughts? What is this? So, a new skill. Okay, person, place, object, or idea. Yeah, it's more or less an idea, right? It's a concept, okay? That's another way that you can think about idea as a concept. Okay, so new skill is an idea, okay? And when you talk about an idea, what should you include for your listener to clearly have an understanding of you, your thoughts, the information that you give, okay? So don't be too quick. Don't miss this step, students. So don't start thinking about your answers yet. Think about this part first. So it's an idea, and when you talk about an idea, what should you include? Amra says the origin of the idea. Yeah, where does the idea come from, right? So where does it come from? Okay. Amrit, not yet. Before you come up with multiple answers, okay, don't rush, students. Rushing part 2 is a sure way to get a lower score. You have to be the tortoise in part 2. Slow and steady wins the race, okay? So Amrit says the function of the idea. Sure, the application of the idea, so how you actually use that idea. So where the idea comes from, how you actually use the idea, so the application of the idea. What else? What else? And it's really important to keep this in mind. Now, when you practice this regularly, this should be automatic. This step should not take you more than a second because you should know very quickly. Okay, so Ghazi, very good. Ghazi says requirements. So what do you need for it, right? Yeah, so the origin of the idea, the application, so how you use this idea, the requirements of the idea, definitely. So where it came from, how you're going to use it, what you need for this idea. What else? Okay. Again, when you have this and you know that you need to do this, you need to take each of these steps, you're going to be much more fluent and you will not repeat yourself. Ghazi says the implementation. Implementation is kind of like the requirements. Yeah, very good, Amra. The outcomes. So outcomes, you can also think about the outcomes, some people don't know that word, results, okay? Outcomes and results are really good. And then what else? Yeah, Sanjay, very good. The improvements of the idea, right? Like how do you improve on that idea? So as long as you think of these points, the origin, the application, the requirements, the results, the improvements, it's really, really important to keep this step 2 in mind, okay? Because this is the way that you make sure that you have good fluency, good connection, and no repetition. All right? So when you speak for the 1 to 2 minutes, this is how you make sure that it's a good, clean, clear 1 to 2 minutes without you saying the same information again and again. Okay. Does that make sense, students? So I need a thumbs up there, because for me, it seemed like a lot of our members were jumping to step 3 and missing this important step 2. You cannot miss this step 2. You have to think about this in your IELTS exam when you're in this part of the test, okay? So when you're giving a presentation in school, same thing, right? You have to think about this. You can't just jump to answers. You have to recognize what the structure is, what the content is, okay? Amra, Ghazi, I see some thumbs up now. Rashika, good. All right, that's good. Yeah, so you can't, this is a very important step. You can't just skip it, right? And it's a very quick step. So when you know what you need to include for people, places, events, ideas, object, then this is a very, very quick step, okay? And you should remember it in this order. So origin should be number 1, application should be number 2, requirements should be number 3, okay? Results should be number 4, and improvements should be number 5. All right. Okay, so this question here, one more really important thought. Talk about a new skill you would like to learn. What's the tense? And this is also for step 2. So step 2 is think about the category, and so category, is it a person, place, object, idea, or event? And also think about the tense, right? So think about the tenses used, right? So past, present, or future, and or future. So for this question, are we going to be using the past tense to give our answer? Are we going to be using the present tense? Are we going to use the future tense, or are we going to use a combination of these tenses? Okay. Ghazi says the future because it's asking about a skill, a new skill we would like to learn potentially in the future. Absolutely, I agree with you, Ghazi. So here, our primary tense, or a lot of what we will be saying, will be using the future tense. And I think we will also use the present tense. We could be already taking some steps to inquire about this new skill. And maybe the reason we want this new skill is because of past experience, right? So in this case, we are going to use the future, the present, and the past. It's not always true, okay? So past, present, future, we don't always use it. Be careful about that. But in this case, we will use a bit of all of that, okay? So we will use a bit of all of that. All right, so now we can think of ideas. So step 3, think of 2 to 3 good ideas and choose one. Okay, it should be easy, it should be original, and you should have lots of content so that you don't run out of words and thoughts to say. Okay, and now we have some responses already. So Amrit says driving, cooking. We have editing videos by Sanjay. Okay. What else? I saw lots. Yoga. Ghazi says first aid. First aid is definitely very good to learn. Ghazi, in Canada, I'm sure you might already know this. We have level 1, 2, 3 first aid. Amra says a programming language. Rashika says swimming. Okay, good. So a lot of those are good ideas. and they all work. Okay, now a little bit of a trick here, students. So here's a kind of an interesting trick for your IELTS exam. Remember, on the IELTS, you do not need to speak the truth. In this case, it can be much easier to speak about a skill that you already have and pretend like you are interested in learning it as a new skill. Okay, so if you already know how to swim, Ghazi, if you already know how to do first aid and you have vocabulary because it's something that you learned, it's something that you practiced, so you know vocabulary like CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, and Heimlich maneuver, and how to treat burns, and you already studied all of this vocabulary, then pretend like you don't have that skill and it's a new skill that you plan to acquire, okay? The IELTS examiner is not going to say, hey, wait a second, I think you already know first aid. That's not true. They're not going to say that, but picking a new skill that you actually don't yet do or haven't learned is likely going to be more difficult to talk about because you don't do it yet. So I would kind of be in trouble if I had to talk about a computer programming language like, let's say, Java, because I don't really know the applications of Java and what I can do with it. Not like someone who actually has learned Java and uses it to code software. So it would be a bad idea for me to pick a skill that I don't actually know or I'm not familiar with. Cooking, for example, if you don't cook, if you don't know the technical words for cooking in English because you don't really do it so much, it's probably not a good idea to choose that, okay? So Ghazi says, okay, something that is familiar, absolutely. So pick a skill that you already have and pretend like it's a new skill that you're still going to learn. The IELTS examiner doesn't know if you know how to drive a car or not, right? So for today, let's pick the skill of driving a car, okay? And that's kind of, I'm just sticking with the car theme today, okay? And I bet that many of our members, viewers, probably know how to drive a car. Some of you don't. That's totally okay. But driving a car would be a good skill to talk about because it's, you know, fairly original. It's definitely easy to talk about, definitely lots of content. So we're not going to get into the problem of repetition, okay? All right. So driving a car. All right. Yeah, Nana, you don't need to tell the truth. If you tell the truth in this situation, there's a chance that you're going to get into a tough spot and it's going to be a lower score, okay? Yeah, you do not need to tell the truth. So I would probably just go with driving a car, all right? It's a skill I can definitely talk about. I've been doing it for many years, so I can pretend like I don't drive, but I really want to learn to drive, and for X, Y reasons. So we'll get into that. Okay, notes, right? All right, so this is step 4. Useful notes. And in your useful notes, you basically just go through the same steps that we outlined. So the origin, where did this idea come from? So you want to learn to drive a car. Where does the idea come from? Where did you get this idea that, hey, I want to learn to drive a car? Okay, give me some thoughts. All right, Sanjay, pretend like you do have some knowledge about driving. So where does this idea about driving a car? Okay, friends, yeah, so Amrit says brother suggested it. Friends, family. Suggested. Sure. Okay, so friends, family suggested. Yeah, okay. I've been thinking about it for a long time. So me, okay. Sanjay says, yes, absolutely. All right. Okay, and what's the reason for this idea? Okay. So with the origin, also think about the reason. So your friends and family suggested it to you. Why? Why? Okay. And I see that Sanjay saying at Divi, congratulations. Not sure if Divi is sharing some scores. Hi, Divi. Okay. Good. So Amrit says, move to Canada. Big country. Yeah, definitely. That could be a good reason to learn to drive. Canada is a very big country, and Ghazi's here on the East Coast, and he knows this, that in Canada, if you don't know how to drive, it's a little bit more challenging just because of the sheer distances. So there's so much space between locations, your house, your school, your work, certain stores that you want to go to, that to go by public transport can be really inefficient. It can take a lot of time, okay? So Sanjay says for emergencies, efficiency, right? Emra says, I have a car, but I don't have a driver's license. Yeah, that could be possible. Maybe your dad bought you a car, but you don't have a license. All right, efficiency, of course, could be time as well, okay? Maybe you got, you can make it up too, like you got a job that's far from your house, and it can save you a lot of time and headache, okay? So that's the reason for it, okay? Application, school, work, and maybe if you have kids, it's really helpful for family, right? That's why my wife had to learn to drive, because we've got 2 kids, and it's much more difficult to use public transportation when you've got 2 kids as well, okay? Ghazi says you cannot move without a car. Okay, application, sure. Outcome, results. More activities. Maybe you can go to a big store like Costco, save money. Okay, Costco is like a big warehouse store. And you know, these big warehouse stores, you have to usually drive, but then you get to buy groceries for a lot cheaper. So you get to save money, save time. All right, and improvements. Practice, full license, okay? Because in most countries now, there is what's called a graded system. In Canada, we have what's called a graded system. First, you get your learner license or your learner's license. Then you get a new driver license. Then you get the full license. It takes a couple of years to go through that process usually until you're fully licensed to drive. It's for safety reasons, okay? So Amrit says spend 2 hours a day. Yeah. Hopefully not that much, Amrit, but you never know, depending. Okay. Good, so we're doing great. Now notice how with driving, especially if you know how to drive, you can come up with a lot of answers for these different parts very quickly. Don't forget about the original question as well. Okay, so what is it? Why you want to learn this new skill? Where can you get help to learn this new skill? What is your plan after you learn this skill? So keep the card questions or the cue card questions in mind as well. And now come up with your first sentence, okay? So that is step 5, and it's very important in your 1-minute preparation time. Think about your first sentence so you can begin your response right away and with good fluency and confidence. Okay, so write your first sentence. I'm going to do the same, and then we'll start putting this all together, okay? So here we go. There we go. So this would be my first skill, just answering that topic question. And students, notice how I'm not writing like there are lots of new skills that I want to learn, such as computer programming and video editing, but the skill that I would like to talk about today is, I don't do that because it's unnecessary. It doesn't answer the question directly. And I only have 1 to 2 minutes to talk about this new skill, and I can certainly talk about just this one new skill for the 1 to 2 minutes clearly and completely, okay? Sanjay says, I have ants in my pants. Exactly, Sanjay, if you've seen one of our short videos or reels on Instagram, you know about the ants in my pants. Absolutely. Ghazi, you don't take driving courses with a coach, although it's not completely wrong. It's okay to say that. It's a driving instructor, usually the correct or more natural way to express that, okay? So I'm really excited to learn a new skill, which is driving, within the next year, as this will have a lot of benefits in my life. Notice that I'm already using some future here with the future participle will, okay? Now, all I do is I keep going through my notes, okay? And you can use your notes. So here are my notes. My first piece of information in my notes is where this idea comes from, so the origin, okay? Now, very important, students, use your notes. And the card in the speaking time, okay? So many students don't do that, and that is super duper important, okay? So origins, that's all we do. So we go like this. My friends and family have been encouraging me to get my driver's license for a few years. Especially my dad. Because they tell me that this will save me a lot of time, and it will make life more comfortable and convenient. Finally, my dad surprised me with a car for my last birthday a month ago, which has really encouraged me to put in the effort to get my license. Okay, so I'm just really going through these points here. Okay, and now I can look at my notes and go to the next one. So move to Canada, right? So not only will this skill help me to get to work and school faster, but it will be crucial once I move to Canada for my graduate studies, as I've heard that the country is so big and it is difficult to get to many places with public transportation. Okay, all right, so moving along really nicely, and once again, when you know what you have to say, then you can say it fluently. And even if you don't have a lot of complicated grammar, I'm using lots of present perfect and such, even with simple sentences, you can put together a beautiful 1 to 2 minute response. Okay. Ghazi says the skills I would get as soon as possible is driving, that my father encouraged me to learn. This is because he wants to buy me a car soon, so I can be more independent. Ghazi, finish that sentence. So I can be more independent, right? Car gives you independence. When you're a parent and you have older kids and they're asking you to drive them all over the place, that's a bit of a headache. So that's one reason parents like to get cars for their kids and driver's licenses, is so that they can be more independent. Okay. Amrit says, the skill I really want to learn is driving, and I'm just about to start this next week. Okay, Amrit, just a little bit on the grammar. Amra says, the new skill that I'm really ambitious to learn is driving within the upcoming 6 months, as it will bring me a bunch of advantages. That's good. That works. Okay. All right. In order to acquire this skill, I first need to learn the rules of the road. I mean, traffic signs and driving laws and regulations. Then I need to get a learner's license and begin practicing. My dad has already promised to teach me a couple of times each week. And I will also take a few lessons from a driving instructor at a local school called Drive Wise. Okay, lots of content, lots of information. So one danger, by the way, students, for part 2, is that you can speak a lot and really get going, and you're like, oh yeah, driving, it's a great skill, I can talk a lot about this, and then you run out of time. The examiner says, okay, your time is up, we're now going on to part 3, and you realize, like, oh, I haven't answered like 2 of the questions on the cue card. That's not good. So be careful, okay, before you really get too excited and too fluent make sure that you check the card. Am I answering all the questions on the card? So what is it? Okay, I answered that question. It's the skill of driving. Why you want to learn this skill, I definitely started to answer that, right? So I can be more efficient. Where can you get help? Okay, so I just answered that, right? My dad, I'm a driving instructor. What is your plan after you learn this skill, and how will this change your life? Make sure to answer that question also, okay? Before you really go on to any other points for the application, the results, improvements, and so on, okay? So here we go. Watch what I'll do now. So I've looked at the card and I realized, okay, it's asking me how this will change my life, okay? So once I have my license, my new driver's license, it will allow me to get to school in just 10 minutes from my home. Also, I will be able to drop off my younger brother at his school on the way, so I can save my parents time, and I can even help out with grocery shopping, as I can get to the bigger and cheaper supermarkets like Costco. Okay. All right. So, be specific, be original. Notice that I'm naming the supermarket, I'm naming the driving school. I'm giving time and minutes to my speaking so that it becomes me, it becomes original. I can pick up more points for coherence and for fluency, okay? So that's what you need to do, all right? Okay, let's see. Rashika says, a new skill that I would like to learn is driving, because I realize that this skill is a vital life skill for me. After all, in my area, Arkansas, public transportation is complicated. I have 15 minutes. Ooh, Rashika, it sounds like you are speaking from the truth, and it's looking really good. Okay. Ghazi says, I need to read a driving book, an instruction book on how to drive, and watch some driving videos on YouTube. Furthermore, I will go practice with my friend Called, who has an STFE once per day. I don't know what the STFE means, Ghazi, so you're going to have to spell that out for me, okay? Make sure that you are clear when you speak with the examiner. Rashika finishes by saying, I have 15 minutes of walking just to get to the bus stop. Yeah, I feel you, Rashika. Okay, so here, now I've answered all of the questions on the card, so I'm good to go. And if I have more time, I can still include more information about results, improvements, and so forth, all right? So in fact, once I have my driver's license, I am even thinking about getting a motorcycle license so that I can save money on gas, because gas has become really expensive. So you can keep expanding, right? But very likely the examiner will stop you at this point. So let's do this together, everyone. Just repeat after me, and then after we do this practice, after we do this repetition, you will have a chance to speak, and fingers crossed our chat should work fine today. We did troubleshoot that, and it should be working well. So Let's do this, but first let's do some repetition, okay? So for everybody who's watching, just speak and repeat, okay? This is speaking part 2. It is a cue card. The topic is talk about a new skill that you would like to learn. Your 1-minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. I am really excited to learn a new skill, which is driving, within the next year, as this will have a lot of benefits in my life. My friends and family have been encouraging me to get my driver's license for a few years, especially my dad, because they tell me that this will save me a lot of time and it will make life more comfortable and convenient. Finally, my dad surprised me with a car for my last birthday a month ago, which has really encouraged me to put in the effort to get my license. Not only will this skill help me to get to work and school faster, but it will be crucial once I move to Canada for my graduate studies, as I've heard that the country is so big and it's difficult to get to many places with public transportation. In order to acquire this skill, I first need to learn the rules of the road. I mean, the traffic signs and driving laws and regulations. Then I need to get a learner's license and begin practicing. My dad has already promised to teach me a couple of times each week, and I will also take a few lessons from a driving instructor at a local school called DriveWise. Once I have my new driver's license, it will allow me to get to school in just 10 minutes from my home. Also, I will be able to drop off my younger brother at his school on the way, so I can save my parents time. And I can even help out with grocery shopping, as I can get to bigger and cheaper supermarkets like Costco. Okay, now if I still have time, then I might say something like, afterwards, I can apply for my international driver's license, so I can drive around Canada and explore the country when I get there. Okay, so that would be an improvement for the future. And now the examiner will say, okay, your speaking time is up. Please put the note paper, the pencil to the side. Part 2 is over. We will now continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you a question related to the topic of part 2, and then they continue with part 3. Now, part 3, we're not there yet. We're going to do that next class today in a bit, and everybody will be able to join that chat. But before we do that, I want to give a chance to, first of all, our members to practice this part 2 cue card. So you can volunteer for speaking, okay? Speaking, volunteering, and to volunteer, you need to use our aehelp.com website. Let me show you what I mean. And everybody who's watching, do this now, because we're going to use this next class also for speaking part 3. So let's go to aehelp.com. Again, you can join our premium IELTS package by clicking that big red Join Now button. It's a one-time payment, lots of help for your speaking. And you can also try the website by clicking this green button underneath the red button, okay? Once you do that, you log into your My Student account. And in your My Student account, you have the student partner speaking function where you can talk to me during these live classes, or you can talk to other students anytime. It should be working. Hopefully, some of you tested that out. Okay. If you want to book a full IELTS speaking interview with me to practice and get feedback, you can click this yellow button, the speaking interview practice, okay? It's very, very useful. I know that students who use that say, yeah, it's super useful. Okay, you can get a recording of the session as well. So let's click on student partner speaking, except that we're going to be polite. And now we will see some people in here. So we have lots of people in here. Hopefully I get some volunteers. So you will see me in here as master, okay? You can send me a message by clicking the blue envelope on my handle, master, and then I will be able to connect with you, and I will message you back to make sure that you're there and that we can connect. And then you can practice this speaking part 2. Just do your best, don't stress too much, and then I'll give you feedback. I'll estimate your score, so I will say, that's what you need to do, or you need to improve by doing this, and then you'll get a higher band score, and then we'll do it that way. Okay, so I know Ghazi's in Canada, and I should be able to connect with him. I've done it lots in the past, and hopefully the system's working today for us. So let me just check with Ghazi here. Ghazi, yes, sure. Let's connect. Okay, are you ready? All right.
Hello, Adrian.
Hi, Ghazi.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Finally, I can hear your voice.
Yeah, after 1 week. Yeah, the last week I was sick actually. So
Okay.
yeah, it was okay. I'm fine now. So how is the weather in BC these days?
It's just starting to warm up on our side of the country. For all of our viewers, Ghazi is also in Canada, but he's on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast.
Newfoundland.
Yeah, so
you cannot predict the weather. Also is here. The winter is back. Go back again.
yeah. So,
Rain and
but
snow
I heard you had a warm front, like a 30 degrees temperature as well that came through. So that's kind of interesting. Weather patterns are changing, Ghazi, no question. So all right. So part 2, driving, a new skill. Ghazi, you're in Canada. And what do you think? Is driving an important skill in Canada?
Yeah, sure. Especially in Newfoundland, there is far away this spaces between the areas and the towns. Yeah, you can take about 1 hour between every town, so you need it for sure. From here to St. John's, the capital city, I need 4 hours.
Yeah, and you're still in the same province. How long would it take you, Ghazi, to drive and visit me?
In a car, I need 1 week without stopping.
Yeah, so
just line.
In Canada we even fly. Thank you for that good laugh, Ghazi. So everybody who's watching, if Ghazi wanted to visit me with his car,
others think we are joking. That's true.
I know you're not joking.
In one country.
Yeah, I know you're not joking. It would take Ghazi a lot of driving to visit me here in Victoria.
In the future,
it would be kind of like driving from, I don't know, India to Saudi Arabia or something.
Like this. Exactly. So
okay,
crazy.
Yeah. All right. So let's do this, Ghazi. So speaking part 2, new skill that you would like to learn. I'll leave the decision to you. So you can talk about learning to drive a car, just like we practiced so far. If you want, you can pick a different skill as well. It's up to you. And I'll make some notes while you're speaking, and then I'll give you some feedback at the end. So are you ready? Can I start you off?
Okay, Adrian, we can change the topic. I can talk about the first aid.
Sure. Okay. I'll start you off. Okay. So here we go.
Yeah.
All right. So talk about a new skill you would like to learn. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. Okay, Ghazi, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Actually, the skills I like to learn is first aid. That because I have 3 kids. Also, my father is 60 years old and he has health issues. So I am thinking to learn this skills in order to save my family and others as well. So the person encouraged me to learn that my friend Khaled, who's a nurse, and he encouraged me to learn that. Also, I can help my father and my neighbors as well by check their blood pressure, and anyone get cut. I can deal with that, especially because the hospital about 30 minutes from my town. Also, I need the first aid. I need to learn that. Also, I need some equipments like first aid kit and blood pressure device. I meet my friend Khaled right now once every a couple of days in order to practice. We started practice how we did CPR and how we measure pulse. I need also improve these skills by register in a course. The course I think will open after 2 weeks. The course about 3 weeks. And this cost about $200.
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there.
Yeah.
And we will now move on to part 3. So that was about 2 minutes. The reason I let you speak for the whole time is because you are giving me new information, and it's more and more detail, which is good. So you're not repeating yourself. And in this case, the examiner will let you speak for that 120 seconds, which is great. Okay. Ghazi, you're doing a good job. Your English is improving. Okay. You're becoming more confident, more fluent. Your communication is getting better. So you are making more sense. And that's at the end of the day, that's what really matters, is just making more sense to your listener.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay, that was really good. So keep going that way. I would say that was a solid 6.5 to 7 now. Okay, you're moving towards that 7 category, which is great. Yeah. And I think you're going, especially being in Canada, you're going to really improve quickly. So that's great. That's really good, Ghazi. I'm happy to hear this improvement in your
Thank you, Adrian. I appreciate that. Yeah. So,
all right.
Because of your advices. So
and because you're following the advice. Okay. So I can only suggest, but you're the one doing it. So that's great. So a little bit of improvement with grammar. Keep working on that. It's getting better. And the grammar mistakes are smaller and smaller now, which is really good. Just like a missing s or a missing preposition, like a to or a with or an at. But it's okay. I can understand you 100%. And keep working on the fluency. So I think, if you fix your grammar mistakes a little bit and become just 15-20% faster, and
Yeah.
because of that you can include a little bit more content, that will be great. So
Yeah.
let me jump back to my notes here, okay? So you said actually the skills I'd like to learn is first aid. That is because, or you can say that's because.
Okay.
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 I have 3 kids. Also, my father is 60 years old and he has health issues. That was a really strong beginning. So it was a very clear, strong start, very direct. You said, okay, it's first aid. This is the
Yeah.
reason. And then you said, so I'm thinking to learn this skill. That was a little bit repetitive there, but it was okay. It was not bad. I like how as soon as you realized I'm starting to repeat, you started to go to the next point. Like, okay, where can I learn this? What do I need? You were using that strategy, right, of keeping in mind like requirements and
Yeah. Yeah.
outcomes. And you see how that works really well to keep the conversation moving forward, right? Instead
Yeah,
of,
but I just I didn't use the requirement in the second position. I use it in the third or the fourth position, but that's still okay.
it is. It's not the end of the world as long as you remember
Yeah.
it, as long as you realize, like, oh, I don't want to repeat myself, because you started to get there, right? You said, okay, also I can help my father and my neighbor as well. And I was like, okay, you're starting to repeat what you told me at the
Yeah, yeah. I
beginning,
beat
right?
my father twice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
recognize that.
and then you realize that, right? And then you're like,
Yeah.
okay, how, and then you realize, okay, I need to give more detail. Like, how can I help them by checking their blood pressure? And you know, that's what you could have given a little bit more information on at the end. So you could have said, once I have better first aid skills, I know that I can confidently help my children if they injure themselves.
Yeah, that's kind of outcomes. This.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. Like if they injure themselves playing sports, and then you
yeah,
can say, like, my son just started biking everywhere.
yeah,
So I need to make sure I can help him if he falls off his bike, right? Something like
yeah,
that. Okay.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right. But
Okay.
overall, that was very good, Ghazi. So you're definitely on the right track and you're definitely taking the right steps. So well done.
Yeah. Also, I am planning to go to the test. I think in the end of this month or in the 1st of July.
Yeah.
Think in the 7th of July. So that's my plan. Yeah.
Yeah, first aid is a really good skill to have. I have my level 1 first aid. I think the certificate is good for 2 years or 5 years, something like that. And
Yeah.
then you can take level 2 and level 3. And if you have level 3 first aid, you can work as a paramedic, I believe.
Paramedic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Close. Will be
So
close to the paramedic. Yeah.
exactly. So, for anybody who's traveling to Canada, that's a really good extra skill
Yeah.
to put on the resume and to learn. And you kind of, it's good because you learn English and you learn a very useful skill both at the same time. So I highly recommend a registered first aid course for those people. Yeah, so it's good for you to do that, Ghazi.
Oh, thank
Okay,
you.
Ghazi, have a great rest of your weekend over on the
You
East
too.
Coast. Okay.
Yeah. You too. Take care.
Bye
See you
for
later.
now. Okay, we'll
Bye.
talk later. Bye, Ghazi.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
All right, that was Ghazi. Give Ghazi a thumbs up. That was really good. Okay, Ghazi chose to talk about the skill of first aid. And with first aid, yes, you definitely learn to check for a pulse, check for blood pressure, bandaging, helping with cuts and scrapes, CPR. Also, if somebody is choking, then you learn the Heimlich maneuver. So those are some good words to include when talking about first aid. Thank you, Amrit Amra, for all the thumbs up. All right, everyone. So we've got more and more volunteers here, and I believe Amrit, our longtime member here, is also volunteering. So let's see if I can connect with Amrit. Amrit, are you ready? Now, if I don't see more members volunteering, then I will definitely reach out to some of our other volunteers like Joao and Anmol. And if you are a member and I'm not recognizing that, then let me know. Okay, send me a message in the chat. Okay. All right, Amrit.
Hello,
Hi, Amrit. How are you?
I'm doing great, sir. What about you?
I am doing just dandy.
Okay.
It means I'm doing good as well. Okay. So, very British. I'm doing just dandy. Okay, so Amrit, let's do this. Same thing as with Ghazi. You can talk about learning to drive, as we just practiced in the class. Or if you want a bit of more of a challenge, you can talk about a different skill that you would like to learn. Up to you, okay?
Yes, I'm just going with driving.
All right, it's good to do that. Okay, so here we go. I'll start you off. Talk about a new skill you would like to learn. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
I really want to learn a new skill is driving, which I will learn just next month because it helps me a lot in my life. My friends and family suggested me this skill without without facing many problems to do driving, and even they tell me this will save a lot of time and it will make life more comfortable and convenient. This skill will especially help me a lot in Canada because I want to move for further education. And in many places in Canada, have difficulties to travel to work or even study. In order to acquire this skill, I first need to learn rules and regulations of traffic in order to learn this skill. And even I plan to learn this skill from my near hometown driving school, which cost me around 5,000 Indian rupees. Uh, Once I have my new driving license, it will allow me to get to college in just 20 minutes from my home instead of waiting public transport, and I can even visit my friends and relatives home with my car.
Okay, I'll stop you there. And now we will continue with part 3. All right, that was pretty good. Overall, that was very good, Amrit. So I took some notes. I transcribed some of what you were saying there. So that would be a band 7, definitely. I mean, obviously you practiced that. You had really good fluency going into it. You covered a lot of the points. You also answered all the questions on the card. You made a few grammar mistakes. There were a couple points that were a little bit kind of, a little bit, I had to pay attention, like, what did you say exactly? But overall, it was very good. So 7.5 even, I would say, Amrit, for that. 7, I think, would be a bit low. 7.5 for that. I liked how you included the numbers there. So the driving school will cost you 5,000 Indian rupees. You will get to college in just 20 minutes without having to wait for public transit. That was really good. So overall, it was well done. Okay, don't rush. All right, and notice how at the end I gave you a few seconds. Like I didn't stop you. You stopped yourself. Right.
Okay.
Okay. Now, sometimes the IELTS trainers will say, oh, just keep talking until the examiner stops you. You should do that, but not in a confusing way. So if I'm kind of quiet and you still have some time, then you can add some more information. Like you can say, so I should have my license within the next 3-4 months. I hope to have it by the end of summer. And once I get it, then I will go on a road trip with my friends. I will go down to the beach and celebrate.
Okay, sir, I got it. And even I just go with the international license if I got a national license.
Yeah, so after that, my next step will be to get my international driver's license. So when I arrive in Canada, then I can rent or buy a car to get to many different locations. Absolutely. And the way to do that, Amrit, for part 2 is, of course, use the card, the questions, use the concept of talking about an idea, so the origin, the requirements, the results, and so on. But don't forget to visualize, okay? So see yourself in a car. Do you have a driver's license, Amrit?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you use your car to visit your friends?
Yes, definitely. And I visit my relatives and friends every week.
Okay. How far do they live?
They live just 7 to 8 kilometers away from my home.
So it's a quick drive, right? So having a car, you can visit them maybe more often because it's easier, right? You don't have to walk 7 or 8 kilometers. You can drive 7 or 8 kilometers. It lets you go and visit them 3-4 times a week instead of just once or twice a month, right? So visualize these kinds of elements of having that driver's license and having that ability. And then it's easy to kind of add some more valuable points to your response that help to improve your overall score. Okay.
Okay, sir. And sir, I think I covered all the questions. And if I covered all questions, it is necessary to talk and talk.
It depends how quickly you cover them. Like I've seen, it's a good question, Amrit. I have had candidates where they have really good English, so they answer all of the questions on the cue card in the first 30-40 seconds. Then yeah, definitely it's important to keep expanding and talking more because the examiners will basically never stop a student under 1 minute. Somebody who answers all the questions in the first 40 seconds, they need to be able to expand and add more detail so that they can maximize their overall score. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Basically, think about it this way, and this is very important for every viewer. So all the people watching this video. When you give a 2-minute response, so when you practice this at home and you really try to get as close to that 120 seconds as possible with new information, usually it works out where the examiner stops you at the same time that you're finished. So when I did my Ielts exam, the examiner asked me to talk about a place that I like to visit in my city. And I basically timed it to almost exactly 120 seconds. And just as I finished my last sentence, the examiner very naturally said, okay, that's the end of speaking part 2. Let's go to speaking part 3. So when you have a really good speaking part 2, Amrit, like a band 8, band 9, the examiner can feel that you're finished just the same like you can, even without saying it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. And even examiner now that he done all the questions and accurately.
Yeah, exactly. So they know that you're done. So they say that, okay, that's the end of the 2 minutes. Okay, Amrit, thank you for that. Thank you for the questions. That was really great. Keep up the good work, okay? And we'll talk again, maybe even in the next class in part 3, okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for giving me a nice chance.
Absolutely.
Bye, bye.
Amrit. Bye. All right, that was really good. Some really good questions by Amrit. Give Amrit a thumbs up. That was really awesome. All right, let's take Zhao. Zhao is ready to volunteer here. Okay, Zhao, are you ready? I'm going to reach out. And Anmal, I think I'll have time for you as well. Okay, so I'm going to try to be nice and systematic through this. Okay, so I know both of you have been waiting. So are you ready, Zhao? Let's see. Let's try to get a couple more students here so you can hear some different variations of part 2, a skill that you would like to learn. All right. Okay, Joao, I'm calling you. Pick up if you hear me. Calling.
Hi, sir.
Go. Hi, Joao. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great, thank you. Joao, where are you in the world right now?
I'm from Portugal.
From Portugal.
Yeah,
Awesome. What city?
from Lisbon, the
Lisbon.
capital of Portugal.
Yes. I'm very clear. I don't have perfect world geography, but I know where that is. Yeah. Okay, Joao. So, why are you taking the IELTS? What's your goal?
I'm actually taking the C1, the Cambridge exam.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still since advised, by the way. I've asked you yesterday about the exam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm just studying for the C1 just to have a better grasp on English, and just if I want to apply for jobs or schools in the future, I'll have that certificate with me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest, to have an internationally recognized exam like Cambridge C1 or the IELTS, you almost need it for anything. So here in Canada, you go to buy bread and they're like, "Oh, do you have an English exam?" No, it's not that bad, but it's yeah, you need it for just about anything because it's the language that the world has picked to have as the global language, right? So it makes sense. Okay, well, let's do this. So let's do this speaking part 2. And the same choice that I have given to Ghazi and to Amrit, you can choose to talk about learning to drive as a new skill, what we've been practicing in this class, like Amrit did, or you can challenge yourself more with a different skill, like what Ghazi did, talking about learning first aid. Up to you. Okay.
Yeah, I'll think I'll choose a new skill.
Okay, cool. All right. So I will start you off and then get going, and I'll give you feedback when you're done. So talk about a new skill you would like to learn. Your 1-minute preparation time begins now. Okay, your time is up. Please begin speaking.
Yeah. A skill I would really like to learn is public speaking. As this year I'm planning to go to university, and public speaking is a great way to really improve your communication, how efficient you are at communicating with others, not only by speaking very fluently, speaking more eloquently, and just communicate yourself in a better way. Futurely, maybe this would allow me to participate in conferences, or just to give my opinion in a more structured way, with better preparation and better wording. Yeah.
Okay, your time is up. I will stop you there, and we will now continue with part 3. All right. Okay, so Joao, good news, bad news. Good news first. I think you have really good English, and I think you should be able to get a band 8 on your IELTS. Bad news. That response was band 5 to band 6, which is weird because band 6 is fluent. And you're definitely fluent in English, but you stopped speaking, and that will really hurt your score. The IELTS examiner has to score you on what you do and not what they think you can do. Okay? You committed a couple of classic mistakes. A lot of students do it, Joao, and when you watch our classes more, and if you use our learning materials, you're going to improve on this very quickly, okay? First of all, you made the classic mistake of not looking at the card. So the questions are there in front of you, okay? If you stop talking because you run out of ideas or you're nervous, stop and look at the card, look at your notes to get more ideas, okay? For example, this question here, where can you get help to learn this skill? You didn't talk about it at all. So you didn't tell me where you can learn public speaking from. Where can you learn public speaking from?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it yet, but I know there's institutions that teach you that have some custom training for public speaking, but otherwise just participate more in conferences or just reading a lot just to learn new vocabulary and new ways of expressing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a very famous international group called Toastmasters where you can practice public speaking, by the way, for some real utility here. Okay, they're called Toastmasters and they're international. You can register for them online. It's 100% free, which is a really nice part as well. You can learn by giving presentations in class, joining acting classes, right? So public speaking is a form of acting, monologuing. So you can learn public speaking that way. Okay, and of course, for part 2, be really careful to choose an idea or a topic that's easy to talk about. So when you're thinking, okay, driving skill, programming language like HTML or public speaking, think about which one's the easiest to talk about. Public speaking is actually quite challenging to talk about, as you probably realized once you started talking about it, okay? So be very careful because that can have a big impact on whether you get a band 6 or a band 8. Okay, and I think you have a lot of English skills. I think you've practiced English a lot in your life, but you need to make sure that you can present it well on the Ielts exam, okay, or in your oral exam for Cambridge C1 in your oral exam. Okay, they're basically the same idea.
I think what changes the most is like the speaking part, because in Cambridge you have like to describe images and to talk with a partner, whereas in the Ielts it's a little bit different.
Yes and no. So I train students for TOEFL as well, and the format, you're right, is a little bit different. However, at the end of the day, clear communication is clear communication. So the basic principles of how to communicate clearly, whether you're describing an image of a house or a home, or talking about a new skill that you would like to learn, the basic principles of structure, connectivity, clarity, they are the same. They're fundamentally no different, okay? One other important tip, all right, Zhao, that's a really easy correction to make as long as you practice it, is when you're asked a question about you, so talk about a skill you would like to learn, careful not to switch to the second person voice. You did that very quickly at the beginning. You said it's a great way to improve your communication, okay? It's not your communication, it's my communication, because you're talking about a skill you would like to learn, right? So make sure that when you're speaking, and if you take public speaking classes, then they will tell you this right away. Make sure that if you're talking about your audience, you talk about your audience. If you're talking about the general public, talk about the general public. If you're giving a personal example, talk about yourself, not others, right? So control those pronouns. So it's a great way to improve my communication skills, to build my confidence when speaking in front of a large crowd. I need this skill because in the future I would like to be a businessman, and I'm sure that I will host many presentations for my colleagues and my workers where I will have to clearly explain to them the projects so that we can build the company and be successful, right? So notice how it's all about me, and I'm talking about the future application of public speaking in my life as a person who is a business owner, okay? All right.
Yes.
So visualize that. So it was a good start. It was a good start. What you want to do as a next step is to practice that again, okay? And what I encourage you to do, Zhao, is send me an email with an MP3 recording. So try that same question with the same topic answer, but go through the steps a bit more carefully. Give more detailed information, speak for the full 2 minutes, and then record yourself on the phone as an MP3 and send it to Adrian at aehelp.com. And I look forward to hearing it, and then I can be like, yeah, that was way better. You did a good job, okay?
Okay, Adrian, I will send.
All right. Okay, sounds good. Okay, Zhao, then have a great rest of your weekend and keep up the good work. I hope you have a fantastic Saturday, Sunday in Portugal.
Thank you, Adrian. You too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
All right, so that was Joe. That was really good. Students, we're running out of time. So Anmol, here's the deal. I don't have enough time in this class left for another speaking part 2, but Anmol, worry not. Come back in the next class in 30 minutes, okay? And I promise you that you will be the first person I will reach out to when we do the follow-up questions for part 3. How does that sound? Okay. So I know that you are very patient, and I respect that. So come back for the next live class, which is going to be in just 30 minutes. And that will be open for everybody in the chat, not just the members. And then Anmol, you'll be the first on my list. So as soon as I see you volunteer, I will pick you first, I promise. Okay. Speaking IELTS interview or speaking interview practice, this yellow button that's just above my head there, that's where you can book a full IELTS speaking interview session with me. And again, students, don't forget that on our website you can join our premium IELTS package by clicking this red button here that's just above my head, and it's a one-time payment for lifetime access. I'm a certified British Council agent, and we are an official IELTS registration center. We help hundreds and hundreds of students every day to be more successful. Amrit, Emre, Rashika, Amra, you are very, very welcome. I enjoyed the class with everybody today, and thank you for your effort. Keep it up. Hopefully I will see you next class, which again is coming up in 30 minutes. That will be speaking part 3, and speaking part 3 will continue from speaking part 2. And then at 30 minutes, you can, again, check us out at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Lots of resources there. We are world leaders when it comes to helping students succeed in English, communication, and the IELTS exam. I'm Adrian. I will be back in half an hour. Bye for now. Much love to wherever you are.